I don't know how to code, but one thing that's really helped me vibe code my recipe app right now is understanding 4 software concepts: front end, back end, database, API. And I'll show you with the restaurant analogy. So the front end is the dining room. This is where your customers sit. This is essentially what your users see on the screen: the text, the buttons, the forms. And then think of the database as the pantry. This is where your data actually lives. So in my recipe app, this would be the recipes, the users, the grocery lists. They're all saved within the database. And then the back end is the kitchen. This is where all of the work actually gets done. So I'll show you that in a second what that means. And then the API, they're the waiter. They're the ones carrying the requests from the front end to the back end and back and forth. So to give you a more concrete example, let's say I am trying to save a recipe in my recipe app. I've entered it onto the app in the screen, and the API carries it to the back end. And then the back end says, let me go find where Vivian lives in this database and save this recipe to Vivian. So it goes off, does that work, and then the backend tells the API, okay, we've saved Vivian's recipe. And then the API tells the front end, recipe saved. And that's when you see the little notification on the top right corner of your screen. And that's it. I don't know how to code, but generally speaking, I know what part of the kitchen Claude is touching. And I think that's made vibe coding a lot easier and less confusing for me. Follow me if you're vibe coding, especially if you're non-technical. I'm a product designer sharing some software concepts that have made vibe coding a lot easier for me.